All right, there's been many claims or suggestions that maybe this stuff that people are seeing in the skies, these UFOs, are military craft, things that we have or other governments have that is technology we just don't understand, and that's what people have been seeing. Well, on the Danny Jones podcast, Dr. Kevin Knuth was asked that question. So I want to play what he said, and then we'll discuss about his thoughts afterwards. Check this out.
Do you think it's possible that any of this stuff could be some like military stuff that we don't know about?
No, absolutely not.
Really?
For one good reason. And the reason sitting on your shelf right over there, Richard Dolan's book on USOs. Richard Dolan has a new book on unidentified submerged objects.
Right.
These things have been these things have been observed by and recorded in ship's logs for over 150 years. You have reports from the 1800s of a disc coming out of the water, hovering next to the ship, and then shooting off into the clouds. That's been going on for 150 years.
Right. Yeah.
And you can't. And once you know that those cases exist, you can't just say it's got to be Russian or Chinese. That doesn't hold water anymore. It's silly.
Yeah, but don't you think it's possible that we could have got our hands on some of that stuff and like recreated it ourselves?
So some of the modern day things could be modern secret military technology. That's true. But the cases from the 1800s certainly it can't.
That you can't explain away with technology.
And so you can't you don't get rid of the extraterrestrial or non-human hypothesis by just looking at the military technology argument today. The 150-year-old cases, you got to give that up.
All right, the point is well made. Where if these are indeed documented this far back, and we can trace them this far back, these types of things, and that you can even declassify ones of reports from this far back, right? Well, the point is very well made that it just wouldn't have been possible back then with the certain planes and the things that they had and the kind of technology that was around at that point, let's say 100 years ago. It's not possible. The follow-up question by Danny Jones I thought was well asked, which is, well, couldn't you have essentially found some of these things, and then couldn't that be stuff from today? To which he said, yeah, absolutely. I think what that does is it puts more of a case of like, well, let's get more of these people in front of Congress, whether it's here or other places and other governments, to say, all right, if there's all these reverse engineering programs, let's talk about them now, and let's see where they came from in the first place. I think it's very feasible that different governments have been working on these things and have been maneuvering, and some of the stuff seen have been from other countries, from the technology that they've worked on, and who's cracked the code, right? If you remember what David Grush said when he was talking about it on Rogan, it's like the next space race, really, of who can really crack this technology first, this anti-gravity, the things that can happen, the shifting back and forth, whatever it essentially might be. So could it be a mixture of both? Because what he says first, when he asks him, could this be military, other things, and he says, well, absolutely not, because of the USOs and other things too. The first point being, well, whether or not it was us now, they found something from something else whenever that was. So it kind of, if he's right, and if Danny Jones was hinting at, okay, yeah, maybe they recovered it from somebody else. If they're both on to something, then that means that, we're in possession of this craft from years and years and years, however long these things have been around, probably even before us. And yet we've been keeping this secret, which is relatively short period of time in the 70, 80 years that really this thing has been kept quiet, if you look back to the 1940s. And maybe it's even been kept quiet from other governments before that. It just, whatever happened, it was so public in Roswell or whatever it might be. That's another question that I have, though, too, right? That at that time when that happened in 1947, when that thing crashed, whatever you might think it was, a balloon, whatever it was, at that time, can you imagine if that was today, though? The kind of footage or other things that you would have seen at that point, because that whole scenario of like, it seemed like that the government was going to say at one point, okay, yeah, this is what this is. And then they realized maybe we shouldn't. It's frustrating overall of whether or not we're ever going to find out in our lifetime if this stuff is stuff that we're working on, other governments are working on. But I think that they both make very valid points, and I think that it is. I personally think it's a mixture of both. I think that it is something that has been here for a very long time. I think that it is something that has, I think, time and space and things that we just don't understand have, in the way that we use gas in our cars. These things particularly can use time and space and other things too. And that's what they've been doing for however long. And I also think that we have gotten a hand on some of these things over the course of as many years that we've been on this planet. We've got a hold of some. And I think that we've been trying to figure out a way to use that technology. It does scramble your brain in the, that theory of, well, what happened if we indeed are these things, the future human, the hypothesis that has been talked about many times over. And then it, plants that seed in your head. Well, wait, so they drop these things here, so we find them, so we study them, so we create the technology. And if you look at the way time and space works, it's not that people always think of Back to the Future, and that's the farthest thing from how time and everything works. But like, if you watch the Netflix series Dark, it kind of explore this type of thing, where who knows? It scrambles my brain that these things are left. We study them. We eventually do the same thing, and it's a never-ending cycle. Or it could be a bunch of bullshit, which is another possibility. I don't know anymore. I don't know. I told you what I believe, but I don't know anymore. That's the one that stood out to me today. That's what I wanted to discuss. So what say you guys? Put your thoughts in there. What the hell do you think as far as, do you think both of these points are valid? I want to know. Let me know. Put your thoughts in there. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. All right. We'll be back soon. Thanks, guys.